Rats. In and of themselves, they're not very scary.
Oh my god, he's got a knife.
You could argue that one man could take on 20, maybe even 30 rats at a time. But imagine if they come back with a couple of tens of thousands of their friends for revenge. Then you have yourself a sticky situation. Now follow me even further into this crazy-ass analogy, and imagine if these tens of thousands of rats were led by a diabolical mad scientist who supplied them with advanced military weapons and even has a few nuclear bombs up his sleeve. Well, today on Total Warhammer 3, we're going to be doing just that, as we're taking control of Ikit Claw once again, with our mission to defeat the Empire and destroy its capital, Altdorf. And while normally we would start our journey in Skavenblight, the horrifyingly beautiful capital of Skavenkind, we migrate all of our rat forces to the middle of the Empire, starting in the small village of Mordheim. And as our first action in this mighty campaign, we have ourselves our first enemy, Geralt of Mordheim, clearly trespassing. So I think to myself, how would Ikit Claw go about dealing with rival chieftains? To the east, we have a group of tree people, led by a tree, woman. And this place gives me the creeps. Oh, f***. You can't tell me this isn't nightmare fuel. So the one thing you should know about Skaven is that our infantry morale is, well, it doesn't really, it's not there. It's bad. So we have to rely on our rat-like cunning in order to get the job done. Oh, did I mention we have machine guns? Those help. Oh, right, yeah, we have nukes, too. I think I mentioned that. Hey, there's the tree woman.
F this.
Our victory earned us the most important currency of rat kind, food. And we can use excess food to build even larger cities when we conquer them. To the south, we have a group of vampires led by this handsome guy. He's going to be one of our only allies in this entire campaign. We move Ikit's army north in order to conquer the tree people's home, an even larger tree. You know, they probably would have won this battle if they would have mastered the age-old technique of moving slightly out of the way. And with our final settlement gone, the tree people are no more, which allows us to focus on our true enemy of the campaign, the humans. And this city in particular is led by our arch nemesis, Humphrey Underdick. Holy that is an unfortunately ugly man. Sorry for the jump scare there. So now that we've expanded our kingdom, we can actually expand our empire, but not by conquering a city. We're gonna send Ronnie the Rat, our engineer, north in order to create an undercity. This allows us to manipulate our enemies' provinces without actually having to go to war with them, and it gives us a really good array of options, like building a makeshift nuclear explosive directly underneath of the city. That'll come in handy later. So it looks like the humans are starting to push back a little bit, but we actually have ourselves a really unique situation. There is an army led by Azog the Slaughterer, and conveniently they're also at war with the humans that we're at war with, which means that once they engage in battle, we actually get to join them as reinforcements. And the crazy thing is we're not even allied with them. We just both really, really hate humanity.
Son of a bitch.
So when our troops finally arrive on the battlefield, they arrive directly behind the enemy lines, in a classic maneuver I like to call the flanking machine gun. And in a shocking twist, this strategy worked flawlessly. After our swift victory, we move Ikit Claw even farther north to conquer their capital city of Beckefin. I have no idea what the odds of this happening are, but we are joined once again by Azog the Slaughterer, and this guy is absolutely f***ed. Seeing as the Orc infantry are far more in number and far more advanced than my own Skaven infantry, I have enacted a specific operation called
Operation Human Shield. Hey, wait a minute.
Luckily, we only lost a few hundred clan rats, and we have ourselves a major city to occupy. And if we sacrifice enough food, we can conquer that major city at level 4. which is going to give us a huge advantage in creating an even stronger army moving forward. Now that we've got a taste of human blood, we turn our attention to the northern settlements of Kislev, as Tsarina Katrin's army is stationed directly north of our border. And I figure the best way to make friends with anyone is a gift. And after some quick research of her Tinder profile, we found that she likes long nights sitting by the campfire. So what better gift than to deliver fire directly to her? But it's not just any fire, it's green warp fire, which as we know is significantly cooler. The only thing cooler than green warp fire is green bullets, which we have plenty to go around. These gifts seem to piss her off even more, and we're just gonna chalk that up to some people just don't like being happy. In retaliation for the recent domestic abuse of their leader, a man with incredibly unfortunate facial hair decides to attack our cities to the east. But it's not all bad news, because Ostland, one of the Empire factions, is no more, bringing us one step closer to our end goal. But unfortunately, Ikit Claw's progress is going to be halted because he's forced to backtrack in order to deal with this obvious sexual predator.
Is it the mustache? Because I can shave the mustache.
Their glorious leader leads them in a battle only to die about 30 seconds in, leaving his men to suffer the same fate as the soldiers on D-Day. After a swift victory, Tsarina Katrin decides to attack Zavastra with only herself and a couple of her homies. And our Skaven infantry count for so little that it says we're going to lose this battle, even though we outnumber the enemy literally 10 to 1. And this is exactly how the battle went. It took several hours for thousands of rats with sharpened sticks to kill one single person. Did I say kill? I meant mildly annoy her to the point where she got bored and decided to leave. And hey, guess who's back? It's the trees! But why are they back? I don't really understand.
We don't know. We're trees.
Okay, fair enough. That was the shortest and saddest rebellion in history. Oh hey, a cool new unit. So now that we've taken care of basically every army that Kislev can field, we finally have the chance to mop up some of the straggler settlements that have been hanging around. And all these victories have given us the opportunity to build bigger and better doom rockets. And now that she literally has no armies to defend the rest of her territory, she finally decides to approach, crying about her kids or something. I don't know, I didn't read it.
Dumb bitch.
Whoops. Well, it's time to remove some squatters from our new home. So we're going to conquer Kislev, and then we're going to occupy it at level 4 by sacrificing a ton of food. And wouldn't you know it, there's a caravan right on our doorstep. Or as I like to call them, test subjects. The experiment, are the people of Cathay immune to bullets? Huh. I guess they're not. Weird. In other news, another legendary lord becomes available, Throt the Unclean, and with him, he brings Gorich, a giant, roided-out freak of a rat. They say he's a pretty nice guy once you get to know him. So we're going to slowly build an army for Throt to control, but in the meantime, we're going to conquer Tsarina Katrin's last city. And this chick got a hell of a chin on her, looking like Randy Marsh, as she shows up to siege Kislev with only herself and 5 homeless men she paid directly before the battle.
You got some balls, kid. I'll give you that much.
And the fight was so lopsided I didn't even record it, but here's a dramatic reenactment of the events that occurred. She got her ass kicked so hard that we switched factions. I don't begin to understand how it works. That's what happened, okay? So it's finally time for Throt to get in on the action. He's looking very strong and agile. And then we have Gorich over here, looking like a soft, weak-ass bitch. Yeah, Gorich, we see you. We're not impressed. Now, mindlessly firing bullets into the enemy. That's impressive. So after conquering the settlement for the 3rd time in this campaign, we have ourselves another tree rebellion. You can't make this shit up. I would say they're coming out of the woodwork, but I do not like puns, so I will not be making that joke.
How many times do we have to teach you this lesson,
Tree.
man?
Well, the trees have been defeated once again. And if you want to keep the trees away permanently, I implore you to drop a like and subscribe. For if you don't, the trees shall return and strip the flesh from your very bones. Anyway, so we've been approached by Azog for military access. It's the least I could do for all the help he's given us. And while we're at it, we're gonna make friends with Tormund Giantsbane, a troll, and a sex pervert. We have created an alliance of the most attractive creatures in the entire world. I call this group of beings the boys. No living creature can resist their charms. In one last desperate act of diplomacy, I spent $6,000 in order to make friends with the Bloody Hands, led by Warzag the Great Green Prophet, and they've already conquered a major portion of the southern part of the Empire. Speaking of Empire, I think it's finally time we start the war we've been preparing for this entire campaign.
Disagree.
Allowing Ikit to take the undefended Kappelberg right from underneath the Empire's nose. But basically that means that we're fighting two wars on two different fronts.
We're in the midst of two wars all at once.
Because we recently moved Throt even farther north to conquer Fort Ostrosk. Now currently we are not at war with the Ursun Revivalists. We're at war with a smaller Kislev faction that controls only one minor city. And while Boris Ursus clearly loves us, we're not going to take any chances. We're going to offer to give him the newly acquired Fort Ostrosk in exchange that he gives us a non-aggression pact and then military access, so we can focus all of our efforts on the Empire.
So I'm gonna pay you $100 to fuck off.
So we conquered the city of Talabheim, and we pushed across the river to conquer Hergig as well. And our attack on the Empire has caught them completely off guard. Most of their forces are still down south, and the only force that's even close to us is led by Emperor Franz, who's still quite a ways away, giving us a free lane to go conquer the Brass Keep and expand our empire even further. And we just happen to unlock the most powerful weapon in Skaven history in the process. Yes, everything is going according to plan. You gotta be kidding me. Why won't you die? Just die already. Stay dead. Ah yes, a new member of the boys has arrived. Look at this sexy devil. So the Emperor's forces finally caught up with us, and he decides to attack Hergig, but he doesn't conquer it. Instead, he decides to sack it and move his army up north, giving our army the opportunity to intercept him on the field. And we get to try out our cool-ass new purple explosives. Well, seems like they're working as intended. Okay, that nuke was supposed to hit the Emperor. But eventually one of these bullets will hit him. Well, see, told you. So Mittenheim has one city remaining, and this one unit represents how the battle went for Old Toddy. And in a shocking upset, Boris Todbringer is dead, and Middenland has been wiped off the map. Some jabroni named Emil Braun has brought an army north to defend Weissman, and I've enacted a very specific strategy to deal with this, where I chuck giant poisonous purple globes at them and shoot them from a distance with thousands of rounds of ammunition. And no, that is not my strategy for every single battle. Occasionally, I use nuclear explosives, okay? Look at this guy, walking casually through a hail of bullets. Who's he think he is, John Wick? Not walking so casually now, are you? I guess getting ran over by a giant hamster will do that to you. So while all this is happening, you're probably wondering where Karl Franz is. Well, he's actually snuck behind our lines and conquered Hergig and Talabheim from behind our back. But this sets the stage for the turning point of the entire campaign. This is the battle that will decide the fate of the Empire. The battle is underway, and since we're defending, we decide to hunker down on the only hill in the entire map, allowing us to rain down poisonous grenades and machine gun fire from a distance. Unfortunately, Karl Franz is much more powerful in melee combat, so Ikit versus Karl isn't going to work out for us. But you know what will work out for us? Little nuclear explosive should take care of our problems. While the nuclear explosive was going off, we managed to sneak a unit of Rattling guns through the forest and flank them in the return of the classic maneuver, the flanking machine gun. This maneuver worked to devastating effect to take out their missile troops. Emperor Karl Franz is single-handedly turning the tide of battle because he's able to dive in our backline and take care of our weaker units. We use one of Ikit Claw's spells to pin him down, so our Essen Triads, which are anti-large, can come in and do devastating damage. With Emperor Franz defeated, the rest of the army capitulates, giving us the victory and turning the tide of the campaign. Unfortunately, we lost a ton ton of men, including Ikit Claw, so we're forced to retreat in order to build up our forces. And temporarily, our army needs a new leader. So we're gonna go with Trench Craventail. I know, that prospect scares the shit out of me too. In the south, we've quickly raised an army led by Deathmaster Snitch in order to conquer our lost territories. Snitch also moves up north to take Middenheim from these weird wildebeest men that are wandering around up there. And just to recap, we've solidified a pretty good position for ourselves, taking a large portion of the empire. The southern portion is controlled by our friends, the vampires, and the southwestern portion is controlled by some orcs that we're also kind of friends with. Which basically means the Empire is confined to just a few settlements down south, as we focus our attention on a small pocket of Empire resistance up north. Ikit Claw is finally back and we're able to move forward with our army. And for some reason, Emperor Carl Franz is hunkered down in the forest up north, so we're going to move Ikit forward to engage that army, only to find out that our army sucks ass. We're going to make a classic Skaven maneuver known as running away and waiting for reinforcements. And this is how that confrontation went down. And you're probably wondering where Throt has been this entire time. Well, he's been dealing with his own problems over in the east. And if you'd like to see the rest of that part of the campaign, then you can click on the link in the description. With only a few Empire settlements remaining, we decide to put a literal ticking time bomb underneath of their capital, Altdorf, while also moving Ikit Claw down south to conquer the neighboring city, Caroburg. We swap forces with Deathmaster Snitch, who now defends the newly conquered Caroburg, and Snitch, the master of ambushes, happens to catch Carl Franz off guard, directly outside of the newly conquered city. Do you think he's okay? Is he gonna get back up? About 2 turns later, the bomb is dropped, and Altdorf is no more. And with their capital destroyed, and with no armies left to field, the Empire collapses. The rest of their settlements being conquered by the orcs, which means our ultimate goal has been achieved. I want to thank you guys so much for sticking out to the end of the video. If you did enjoy it, feel free to drop a like, and make sure you subscribe for more content. My name is Dave, and I'll see you guys on the next one.